Mr. Altaf Wani and members of his delegation saw how representatives of international human rights organizations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, people stood up from their chairs and walked up to him and congratulated him and told him that finally you have arrived, that Kashmir is finally back on the international agenda. So what does this report really mean? Mr. Altaf Hussain Wani, I give the floor to you.
Thank you, Ahmed. This report is first ever report which a UN body or UN official has released after 1957. And it was a historic moment for all of us who are lobbying for Kashmir, who are working for Kashmir cause, who have been doing whatever we could do at international level, at national level, to raise the voice for the voiceless Kashmiris. And being a Kashmiri, it was a proud moment for me, for the people who were there when first time on 13th of September 2016, UN Human Rights Commissioner in his updates talked about Kashmir and asked India and Pakistan to give access to the UN fact-finding mission to Kashmir. He continually repeated this call, but in March 2018, he finally said that we have not been able to go to the region. Now we will talk about this in June through a remote monitoring mechanism. Now this report's out, this is in public domain. Two important things which this report has established. First and foremost thing which this report established is the systematic nature of human rights violations perpetrated by the Indian forces in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Human Rights Commissioner, Office of the High Commissioner has cited 13 different human rights violations in the report and incidents in this, though we see that this report covers only the incidents from 9th of July 2016 to 18th of April 2018, but Human Rights Commission has given the reference to what, as earlier Ahmed said about Kuran Poshpur Arab case and the impunity that is prevalent in Indian occupied Kashmir for last so many years and the draconian laws which are there in place. So the second thing which this report has established, and all those arguments which were put forward by the government of India are those that the UN resolutions are no more, their relevance is no more there now, and there is no case of right to self-determination for people of Kashmir, and the Indian point of view that Kashmir is an integral part of India. High Commissioner's report has negated that, and very strongly it has established that the right to self-determination of people of Kashmir is protected under international law. This was the second, the important thing which this report has established. The third and important for us, for activists, and for the victims in Indian occupied Kashmir, it has given a hope to the victims of sexual violence in Kashmir. It has given hope to the thousands of people who have disappeared over there, to relatives of those, kith and kins of those who have been enforcibly disappeared in Indian occupied Kashmir by the Indian forces, to those who have been subjected to extrajudicial executions in Kashmir. So this has generated a new hope for them, and also for those who lost their vision partially or totally after India used the pellet firing shotguns in Kashmir, which Human Rights Commissioner has very strongly asked the government of India, not only the Human Rights Commissioner. Before that, we have seen the medicine Doctors for Human Rights, it's an American-based human rights group, and also Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and many other organizations criticized the government of India for using this pellet shotgun in Kashmir. Human Rights Commissioner has recommended the government of India that this pellet shotgun is no more a non-lethal weapon, it's a lethal weapon because it has become the cause of permanent disabilities to so many Kashmiris. So this report has given a hope to the victims of human rights violations in Kashmir that at the end of the day, the High Commissioner, Office of the High Commissioner, the topmost human body is looking into the violations that are being perpetrated by the Indian forces in Kashmir. So unfortunately, Indian reaction, as always, which has been the Indian stance for last 70 years, India, without going through to the report, without going through the details of the report, though this report was discussed with the government of India and government of Pakistan a week before it was released, government of India described this as fallacious, malified, and a list of unverified incidents. And then Indian media outlets, they came out with accusations to the High Commissioner, to the Office of the High Commissioner, that this has been written in a comfort zone and such and such people are involved in drafting this report, this and that, all those accusations, and most hue and cry. And this was a blessing in disguise, I'll say. The Indian propaganda, the more they tried to propagate against it, the more it came to the public domain in India and also outside world. It forced the UN Secretary General to say that whatever the High Commissioner has written in his report, it is the voice of UN on this issue. So this was after India propagated against this report. And also the High Commissioner, when Indian media outlets and also the Indian at government level, they said this is a malicious, fallacious and malified intentions of the High Commissioner, that High Commissioner, and is motivated, High Commissioner wrote an article. I quote one of the lines which he wrote in that. He said, yes, this report is indeed motivated by the desire to contribute the search for peace and justice in Kashmir, and I urge you to read it in that spirit. This was from High Commissioner's voice. That yes, it is motivated, but it is motivated to have a search for peace in Kashmir. And then again, the government of India, the Indian media did not stop there. They started their accusation against it. And then day before yesterday, the official spokesperson of the High Commissioner had a press conference on this. And he said that this report is through remote monitoring. India and Pakistan did not allow, and we received communications from the civil society, from the government sources. They have quoted the Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, Press Trust of India, and all those things which are from all Indian government sources and also from the NGO sources, national and international, from Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and Jammu Kashmir Coalition of Civil Society, which is the fundamental human rights group in Kashmir, which has time and again produced reports in Kashmir, and which are very much credible and also accepted by all the UN special procedures. So all this Indian propaganda on this report on one side, because it was not first side. I remember when the human rights, the special rapporteur on human rights defenders visited India, she was allowed only for half a day to visit Srinagar. And there too, she was introduced to a limited group of people. But when she heard the stories from some people about Kashmir. Even at that time, the State Human Rights Commissioner who briefed her about the situation in Kashmir, and when she presented her report in the council and asked India to repeal all those draconian laws which are there, and said that all these laws have they override the basic and fundamental human rights, the Indian diplomat at that time, I think it was Indian ambassador, who responded to her that Madam Special Rapporteur, behave like a special reporter, not as a special prosecutor. So we know what the Indian response is, but why India is doing so in order to try to hide its crimes in Kashmir. If there's nothing to hide, they should allow. If all these things are nullified, they should allow the UN fact-finding mission to Kashmir. As going further ahead on this report, we know that international organizations, for the first time, they also came in support of this report and asked the government of India and government of Pakistan to allow fact-finding missions on Kashmir so that the 70 years long dispute and the sufferings of people of Kashmir come to an end. As the official spokesperson of the Human Rights Commissioner said, it is not about politics. It's about ending the sufferings of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. So it's better for government of India if she claims to be the largest democracy of the world. She claims in the human rights systems that we cooperate with the UN systems, and they should not have any difficulty in allowing a UN fact-find mission to Kashmir. The government of Pakistan has welcomed this report, and we hope the government of Pakistan should have no hindrance in giving the access to the Office of the High Commission. But the main hindrance which is created by the government of India, suspecting this report, creating a lot of suspicions on this report. So I think goodwill should prevail and international actors should come forward, impress upon government of India. If she has not anything to hide, allow the international fact-finding mission from the Office of the High Commissioner to Kashmir. Now the activists here, the lobbyists here from YFK and others, we here, what should we know? I have some of the recommendations which I will say as an activist for government of Pakistan, for the activists, and for myself also, for others, what should we do in future to take this report forward? First of all, now it's Pakistan being a core party to the dispute, India is a party to dispute, and people of Kashmir are party to dispute. Now, UN has talked about the rights of people of Kashmir. They have talked about the systematic nature of human rights violations in Kashmir. They have talked about some of the constitutional rights of the people of Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan and all that. I think the 13th Amendment, which was most recently carried out by the Azad Kashmir Assembly, that addresses most of those issues. And also, I'll see that the local institutions in Azad Kashmir, universities, colleges, and also in Pakistan, they should have the awareness about this report. They should read this report. They should think about this report. They should find the ways how to take this report forward. And also, one most important thing which this report has established is that there is no other alternative to the documentation. To the activists, I say to the activists, there is no alternative to the documentation. If you will document the human rights violations, which our people in Indian-occupied Kashmir, despite all the restrictions, despite death threats, they do it. They do document each and every incident and report it the UN special procedures. And I know the government of India is always after those people who are cooperating with the UN mechanisms, though that's reprisal. And you saw just yesterday on 14th and 15th, a Kashmiri journalist who was called to the New Delhi by NIA. He was not the first one. Most of the journalists are being called, and all English dailies in Srinagar, they are being asked why you are publishing these reports, or why you are telling the people about the rights violations, why you are giving these pictures of these mass human rights violations in Kashmir. So they are being questioned by the NIA over there, but till then, they do document, they do report these, and in 2016, after the Burhan Wani's death, despite restrictions on internet, they were able to send those images outside. Because of those images, this report has come out. The world saw those images, and this report became a reality. From 18th of April, this date, we see the spree of killing is on, the violations are on, nothing has ended there. Instead, India has increased its military repression over there. So we should continue our efforts in that direction so that we can enlighten the world at large, and we will see the happening that which we also, the humanitarian intervention, and then finally a political intervention in Kashmir, and the people of Kashmir exercising their birthright, the right to self-determination. I thank you very much.